Sarah and I have gained and lost hundreds of pounds, if not thousands of pounds over the years, which is embarrassing, but it's true. And throughout that time, we do believe that we have figured out that there is a pattern that triggers weight loss, and we're going to be talking about that today. And if you're new here, I'm Emily, and this is Sarah, and we call ourselves the Keto Twins because we have been following a relaxed keto lifestyle for about 6 years now.
Yeah, but for longer than that.
Right, we've been off and on keto for 20 years, and we have found that eating low carb just works for us. The important part is that at this point we're losing again, because we did originally lose 160 pounds, but then we've gained about 20 pounds each, and now we're losing it again. So we've been doing something called the Great Lock-In, which is locking it in for the last quarter of 2025 so that in 2026 you feel better about yourself.
Right.
So while we did originally gain 25 pounds, we're heading downward into
The right direction.
The right direction again. And we have been keeping tabs on what we're doing and, overall trend that's going down. And so we thought we would talk about that today and why sometimes it can feel like you're not making any progress when you really are, and what you can do to actually make that progress show on the scale. Because sometimes your body might be hiding the progress that you are making because of water weight fluctuations. So I noticed that I go through a pattern when I'm losing weight. And so I will lose a couple pounds and then I will show it on the scale, and then the next day I'll weigh myself and I'll gain 2 pounds, and then I'll weigh myself the next day and I'll gain another pound.
Yeah.
And it's really frustrating when you see this because you're trying your best and now you're seeing that you're gaining weight even though you hit a new low weight recently.
Right.
Then days will go by, and if you're still being good and you're still following what you should be doing, you'll start to shed some of that water weight and you'll start to go back down. When you go back down and you start to see it going back down, that is when you can trigger weight loss, and you need to clean it up. In order to do that, do something new. An egg fast, a beef fast, OMAD. Whatever you're doing, change it up right now, because if you are on a downward trend, you're probably gonna hit a new low if you can trigger weight loss. And so you can see on this graph that I made with ChatGPT, that's what happened during my weight loss. And it just so happens that I was doing a lot of trends. We were doing like an egg fast. We were trying a new way of eating. We were eating high volume, low calorie foods for a day. All these different things that we were doing kind of coincided, honestly, with the time I would hit a new low in my weight loss.
Right.
And that's not a coincidence. It's like your body doesn't want you to lose weight too fast. So what is it doing? We have a theory about it.
I think a lot of people call it the whoosh effect.
Right. And the whoosh effect, in our non-scientific way,
non-medical way,
some people say that this is actually scientific, is that, you have fat cells, and these fat cells are filled with fat, duh. And then you lose fat and the cell opens and the fat comes out. I don't know, maybe I'm simplifying it, but there's got to be a placeholder there.
The cell itself doesn't go away.
Right. But it says, I am empty inside. Okay. I'm empty,
Like
but I don't know, maybe you're going to gain it back.
Right.
And so maybe I'll just stick water here as a placeholder. And then you're kind of like just tipping in water weight back and forth, back and forth. At that point, you start to try something new. Your body will then release the water at some point. And you'll notice this because you'll start to pee in the middle of the night.
Right.
That's how I know.
Many times.
Sometimes I'll get excited. I'll be like,
yay,
it's time.
the third
Tomorrow
time.
I'm going to wake up. I'm going to be like 2 pounds less. And that always happens in the middle of the night. Here's the thing. It's not like you are actually losing fat in this little trick. It's like you're releasing the water that you're holding.
Yeah, but you could still feel like a little less bloated or a little less inflammation, and your clothes might fit a little better.
I mean, water is water. Weight is weight.
Right.
Holding 10 gallons of water is heavy, regardless if it's just in your cells or not, right? So it does count. But what I'm saying is your body is kind of like playing this game of balance all the time. Electrolytes, if you're stressed, if you have your hormones are fluctuating. But this trick, it kind of like lets your body reveal that you've actually lost fat, but you're just holding on to even more water. So now you'll wake up and you'll be 2 pounds less. But then, of course, what happens the next day? You're going to gain it back again. It's not like you're gaining fat, though. You're gaining water. Your body just doesn't want you to lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks. And if you are doing it that way, well, then it's not healthy. Right? It's not good to do that. I think that losing 1 to 2 pounds a week is a lot.
Especially when you are down closer to your goal weight.
Right. In the beginning, losing 1 or 2 pounds a week for
doesn't
us
feel like
years ago. Right.
Yeah.
When you're 280 pounds, it's endless. But when you're kind of reaching towards a more like not normal BMI, it's really hard to lose weight faster than
every
1 or 2
pound
pounds
counts for more though, as well, like we say. So
well, they call it also the what? We've talked about it before.
what?
Paper towel effect.
Oh, right.
I mean, this doesn't really have to do with the whoosh effect, but like we were saying that every pound that you lose after you've lost a lot of weight counts for more, and we call that the paper towel effect.
It's like when you're pulling a paper towel, it doesn't look like the roll is going down much, but eventually there's a point when you pull one paper towel where it's like a lot was lost.
Right,
there.
because it's wrapped around the roll several times.
Right. It takes a while to feel like the roll is like going away, but once it gets down thinner and you pull a whole sheet off, you're like, oh, I only have a couple left. And it's kind of like the same thing. When you're bigger and you lose 10 pounds, it doesn't look like that much. But when you lose 10 pounds when you're half the size, it makes a significant difference in the way that your clothes fit and everything like that. So every pound counts for more the more you get down to a lower size.
That's the other thing though we were gonna say is that, yeah, you could use this information for good or for evil, really. I mean, you can use it and be like depressed all the time because you keep on going up. But in reality, you're not gaining fat, you're gaining water, right? So if you wanna use this information, you can trigger weight loss by like seeing that you're already on like this downtrend, you're gonna hit there and then you're gonna go lower. You're gonna hit a new low. If you do something new when you're losing water weight, you're gonna hit a new low. Right?
But that also works in the opposite way, because if you know that you're going to gain a couple pounds here and there and you have a bad weekend or something, the whole next week you're going to be working off that and you're not going to see a new low. So that's what happens to me a lot of the time is I'll be really, really good during the week, and then the weekend I'll have like, oh, maybe I'll just eat a little bit more. And that whole next week I'm like trying to get
back down.
Get down to that previous low. So I like to just look at that new low like my new number.
That would be the opposite of what this is though, right? But that's also very valid, is that if you can't handle the fluctuations, only write down when you hit a new low.
If you're being good.
If you're being bad, if you're eating
whatever
off
you want,
plan, whatever you want, then it's time to pay attention to those higher numbers.
Right.
But if you're trying your best, you may have indulged a touch or something. Don't necessarily pay attention unless you want to trigger this weight loss thing. That's what we're trying to get at. Like, you can either use this in a positive way or you can use it in a negative way.
Depends on your mindset. If you're feeling like, oh, I can't believe I went up and down, I went up 2 pounds, then look at the low and count that in your little chart. If you can feel like, oh wait, this is going to motivate me, I gained 3 pounds, I went down another pound, hopefully I can do another pound and reach a new low, then use that as your like motivating factor to like, oh, maybe I can eat really clean today or eat, less.
It definitely motivates us. Not only that, but we are also filming for these challenges for the channel, which helps keep us, motivated because we want to show you guys that like something interesting. We want to show that maybe some of these things work or they don't.
It's hard to get, a loss. A lot of the time. Sometimes we won't, especially when we're getting closer down in the size. It's harder to, have a challenge where we lose like 10 pounds or something. It's like, that would be...
I can't imagine anything unless we baked ourselves like potatoes again.
Yeah.
And that was when I got to my lowest ever. And then after that,
sustain.
Oh yeah, within a month of that, I was up a couple pounds. Within 2 months, I had gotten up even higher. So I was like in the 170s instead of 162, but I felt like it was way easier to maintain, and I didn't have to like pay so much attention to what I was eating when I was in the 170s and I was in the 160s. So that's the other thing that, like, if you've never been like at your smallest, you won't know if you're like, is this worth it? Seriously, people don't talk about that. It's like, I felt like that where I'm like, am I obsessing over this over what? Like, do I feel like I look 10 times better? Not really. I even started to feel worse, honestly, because I was starting to see more loose skin and stuff. And I'm like, great. I've reached a point where I'm like, I don't even like that. I know that's a whole other like psychology thing, but tell us if you've noticed this kind of pattern in your weight loss, or if you guys know of anything that you do to like trigger weight loss by trying something new. If you've never noticed this pattern, let us know. I don't know. I'm one of those people that looks at numbers and goes, oh, I think that I see a pattern in
something
this.
Here. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
We try to have an explanation for everything, I guess.
That's probably because we're
weirdos.
Yeah, no, kind of. No, that's probably because we're like not neurotypical or something, because we're just like, ooh, patterns and stuff. Now what? And if you guys want to see one of the most successful challenges that we did during the Great Lock-In that caused the most amount of weight loss, you can click on the video on the screen and we will see you over there. Anyway, I'm Emily.
And I'm Sarah.
And we are the Keto Twins signing out.